If you can change your image, you can change your life. Now, that's a bold statement. I get it. And what does that have to do with our mental health hack of the day? So, welcome. I've just had an amazing session with one of my clients, a makeover session, or in other words, a personal brand transformation session. Now, her and I have been working together in our life alignment coaching sessions for almost a year, which she reminded me of. I didn't realize it had been a year, and we've had so many transformations through that. She shifted through so much. And the woman she is today is not the woman that she was almost a year ago. Now, you might sound a little bit, flippant, or you might be like, well, obviously none of us are. That's not true, because so many people stay stuck in who they are, what they think, what they believe, how they show up, their patterns, their actions, their behaviors, their habits. And she has actively been moving through so many. She's actively been releasing limiting thoughts, feelings, and emotions that have been keeping her stuck. So, when I refer to changing your image and how it can change your life? Well, it's easy. Because if you can change the way you see yourself internally and externally, everything shifts for you. We know that our internal worlds affect our external worlds, right? So what we believe, what we hold true, is what shapes our external realities. And vice versa as well. On the flip side, the way you see yourself every day reinforces what you believe. So I'll give an example. Someone that, let's say, has done a lot of personal development work or studied a lot. You've got a few accolades behind your name. You've been studying really hard. You've got the degree. You've got the new job, or you're going into a new job, but somehow people still keep treating you the way they did a year ago or 2 years ago, or even more, even though you've had all this transformation. Why? When you've done the internal work, when you've put the effort in, maybe it's the way that you're physically showing up. So whether it's in the way you look, if it's in the way you communicate, in the way that you just show up in the world, the way you walk into a room, if that hasn't shifted, people are still going to continue treating you like they did based on their first impression of you. Now, we love to hate the term that first impressions count and that we don't judge books by their covers. Well, we do. It's self-preservation. It's an innate human, let me try it again, innate human trait to judge, to make judgment calls with little information. So within 0.3 seconds, you have decided when you see someone, and this is subconscious, if they are safe and whatever other terms or descriptors those are or not. So we do the same thing. So when you're finding that people still keep treating you the way that they always did and that they're not willing to change it, what about you do you need to change? And this isn't about changing for other people. Absolutely not. This is aligning your internal world with your external world. So if there's cognitive dissonance or there's a misalignment in what you stand for, what you believe in, how you see yourself internally, and that's not aligning with the external, that's where, you'll look at someone and think something doesn't make sense about them. And the opposite could be true as well, where someone can look great externally, very well put together, wear the most expensive clothing, everything about them looks like they're successful or that they're a nice person, I hate that word. But on the inside, they could be a mess or just trying to keep things together or not have it all put together as it seems. Now, the power comes when we can align the two, our internal image with our external image, our internal world with our external world. So that is the beauty and the magic of being able to change your external world, because it becomes a catalyst for change internally. So you've been doing all the personal development work and now you've gotten stuck somewhere. This could be another tool that you could utilize to be able to shift things. So remember, what I'm sharing during these 31 days are different tools. So see which ones fit and stay open to the possibility that ones that you may have never considered, like this, like an image makeover, may be the very thing that can help shift you and propel you forward in ways that you hadn't even thought of, expected, or known about. So you may not know this about me, but I qualified as a fashion designer, feels like another lifetime ago, worked as a fashion designer locally and internationally, and as a stylist locally and internationally for many years. And then I just left the industry. My mom passed away. She was very closely knit with me when it came to design, and it was just too traumatic and painful to continue. But I started picking up styling again at one point because I was skilled at it and my clients kept calling me back. So eventually I caved and I enjoyed it. But it felt empty to me in terms of just dressing people according to a brief. So it was never considering the human in the clothing. It was always about the brief around the clothing. Until I started noticing changes and shifts in my clients, the way that they'd stand looked different when I put together a certain look for them that they may have never considered before. When I started doing these extreme makeovers, they started changing because now they could literally see themselves differently. They were seeing what was possible externally. So that is the power of image. That is the power of what we literally see in front of ourselves, what the mirror reflects back. And there's all the sides to this. There's the body dysmorphia, and we don't see what's in front of us. We see what our thoughts, feelings, and emotions tell us are true and real for us. So how we filter the world through what we see. So if I can help you change how you see yourself, if I can help you change your image, you can change your life because you start seeing yourself in a more elevated way, in a new way. Maybe if it's a extreme makeover, you look completely differently, which straight away catalyzes more and more changes in you because you start standing differently, you start showing up differently. And so important, other people start treating you differently as well. So some questions to consider. If you have been invisible, whether purposefully you've chosen or by default, or you don't know what the reason is, but if you've been invisible and it's time for you to become more visible because it's going to help your career, it's going to help your business, it's going to change things. Maybe you've been single for a while and you're wanting to get into a relationship. This isn't about changing your identity in a way that is inauthentic. This is about looking at your values, your belief systems, what you stand for, who you are, and the woman or the man that you want to become, and crafting your external appearance around that. So that's the one. The other one, maybe if you feel like you've lost your sense of identity. So some examples of past clients of mine, they've just become moms and they no longer know how to dress. Their bodies have changed. Their idea of what a mom should or shouldn't wear has changed. People's perceptions and opinions of them has changed, and they've just had a bit of an identity crisis. They don't know who they are anymore and how they want to show up anymore. Or someone that's come out of a relationship, a long-term relationship. They've lost themselves in the relationship and now they've got to reinvent, like, I actually don't know who I am anymore. Or someone that's been so focused on career and work that they've forgotten about this, and people still treat you like they did when you were still a student or when you just started, where you're like, actually, my skill set is quite impressive. Stop treating me like you did. Or people just aren't taking you seriously in your role because of the way they see you. Now, if we look at statistics, 38% of a first impression is physical. It's your appearance. It's how you show up. And only 7% is what you know, the words that you actually say. 55% is physical. Apologies, 55% is of a first impression is based on your physical nature. And again, this is biology. This is self-preservation. It's an innate human trait for us to preserve ourselves, to stay protected, where if I see something that looks like a saber-toothed tiger, it probably is. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to go and explore it. I'm just going to run. So that's how we were designed, to make judgment calls, to judge books by their covers, whether you agree with it or not. That's what we all do. You might say you don't. Next time you make a quick judgment call on the teller, on someone standing in front of you, and you realize that, oh, okay, my mistake. Sorry, I just assumed. that's us making judgment calls based on our perceptions and points of views, not on them, on what we expect and what we're projecting on them. So back to our, well, staying in the same conversation, but back to how we can change our image and how we can change our lives. I really invite you to explore this if it's something that you haven't thought of before. Because if you can start seeing yourself with the potential that you have, possibilities that are open to you through the eyes of knowing your true value and your true worth, the way that I see you and the way that I'm going to cheer you on, like you know that I will, how much can open up for you and change. So if you're curious about finding out more, please reach out to me and we can hop on a discovery call if you're keen to explore this makeover transformational journey for us to do some work together, to have some fun. And I'll be sharing some befores and afters of great makeovers that I've done in the past. And I'll share those on my social media feeds. So check those out. And in particular, look at what is happening with the person's energy, their way of being, the way they're showing up in the before and the after. And most of these, I'd say about 90% of these makeovers were done or achieved within 4 hours. So it's not like it's been weeks. It was literally, we met, we did hair and makeup for the gents, we did hair or grooming, whatever was required, and then dressed them. So, and obviously I'd spend time with them in between, finding out more about them and their lifestyle and what they're wanting to achieve in their lives, etc. But have a look. Hop onto my social media. It's Petra Lorenzo, and have a look at the befores and the afters. Let me know what you think. And if you're keen to explore this more, then reach out, because now is the time to take charge of your life, to create the life that you desire, and let people know in no uncertain terms what it is that you want to create, that they know without question your worth, your value within the first few seconds of seeing you. I say that in my talks as well, in my workshops and masterclasses, is your client should want to work with you the second they lay eyes on you, because oftentimes we don't get a second or third or fourth chance to make a good first impression. So much rides on that first impression because we don't always get the chance to convince them otherwise. So on a business front, first impressions are key to establishing a rapport, a way of communication, and their expectations of you. So I hope that this has been a contribution. Let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback, your comments on how, when you can change the way you see yourself and communicate that on the same level externally, how so many things can shift for you. I'm so excited for you in this journey. We're halfway through the month, which means we're halfway through our mental health hacks. And I really hope that this has been supportive. And I cannot wait for tomorrow. We have the incredible Sarah Grandinetti speaking about all things relationships and our mental well-being. All right, everyone, thank you for being here. And remember to share this with a friend if there is someone that you think could benefit from this or some of the other videos. Have a good evening or day whenever you're watching this. Bye, everyone.